Protect your mental space before you protect anything else, because the truth is, peace doesn't disappear on its own. We lose it the moment we start assuming that the things and people we depend on will always stay the same. We assume life will slow down for us. We assume opportunities will wait. And sometimes we assume someone will always be there to support us, guide us, understand us, or pull us back when we fall. But depending on someone else for stability, clarity, or comfort is one of the biggest mistakes we make. Not because people are unreliable, but because life changes, people grow, circumstances shift, and no one can carry us forever. Protecting your peace begins with accepting that your inner world must be strong enough to survive even if the support you're used to suddenly isn't available. This is where mental space becomes your greatest asset. You can't create a different 2026 if your mind is still crowded with last year's noise, old doubts, old disappointments, old fears, old attachments. Sometimes we stay emotionally dependent because it feels familiar. We think someone will always show up to calm our storms or fix what we break. But peace comes the moment you take responsibility for your emotional weather. Instead of waiting for someone to save you, you learn to anchor yourself. Instead of expecting others to understand you, you learn to understand your own triggers, your own needs, your own boundaries. When you protect your mental space, you begin to see what drains you, what strengthens you, and what needs to change. You start noticing how often you let external chaos shake your inner balance. You notice how certain voices in your life pull you away from the person you're trying to become. You notice how easily you lose focus when your mind is open to everything and everyone. Protecting your peace doesn't mean blocking the world out. It means choosing what gets access to you. It means deciding what thoughts deserve your attention and what thoughts must be rejected the moment they appear. It means refusing to allow negativity to sit in your mind rent-free. And when you stop assuming someone will always be there to lift you up, you learn the real meaning of strength. You begin to appreciate your own ability to rise, your own ability to think clearly, your own ability to make decisions without seeking approval. You begin to trust yourself. That trust creates a mental space where calmness becomes normal, clarity becomes familiar, and pressure becomes manageable. You stop reacting to every problem and start responding with intention. You stop letting people disturb your energy and start controlling who enters your life and why. 2026 becomes different when you finally understand that your peace is your responsibility, not the world's, not your family's, not your partner's, not your friends'. And when you protect that peace, you protect your vision, your dreams, your focus, and your future. You protect the part of you that wants to grow, wants to evolve, wants to break cycles and create something better. You protect the version of yourself that knows you deserve a life that doesn't drain you. So if you want this year to be different, start by guarding the most important territory you own, your mind. Clean it, strengthen it, organize it. Fill it with thoughts that support your path and silence anything that tries to pull you backwards. Because once your inner world is protected, your outer world will start aligning with it. And once you stop assuming someone else will hold you together, you'll realize you were capable all along. The people you choose to keep close will shape the peace you protect, the dreams you pursue, and the direction your life takes. But one of the greatest mistakes we make is assuming that someone who has always been with us will always remain with us. We assume their presence is permanent. We assume their support will never fade. We assume their energy will always match ours. And because of that assumption, we stop paying attention to the impact people actually have on our mental space. We tolerate stress because we think that person isn't going anywhere. We allow emotional clutter because we've normalized their behavior. We let their moods, their chaos, their inconsistency interfere with our focus, believing that this is simply a part of life we must accept. But when you begin protecting your peace, you see the truth clearly. No one's presence is guaranteed, and no one's energy should ever overpower your own. Sometimes the hardest shift is realizing that someone who has been there for years is no longer good for your growth. Maybe the connection used to lift you up, but now it holds you back. Maybe their words used to inspire you, but now they drain you. Maybe they once supported your dreams, but now they question everything you're trying to become. And yet, you keep them close because it's easier to cling to history than face the discomfort of change. But if you want 2026 to be different, you can't keep surrounding yourself with the same energy that made previous years so heavy. Protecting your peace means choosing people who add calmness, clarity, and direction, not confusion, tension, and overwhelm. You deserve relationships that don't make you second guess your worth. You deserve conversations that build your mind instead of breaking your confidence. You deserve a circle that understands your silence, respects your boundaries, and celebrates your growth even when it makes them uncomfortable. And when you stop assuming someone will always be there, no matter how they treat you, you begin to understand the value of intentional connections. You start looking at who brings out your best, not who just happens to be nearby. You start choosing people based on alignment, not attachment. You start realizing that peace is a form of wealth, and anyone who steals it is too expensive to keep. This doesn't mean you cut people off impulsively. It means you become aware, you observe. You feel the shift inside yourself. You notice who respects your time, who understands your journey, who speaks life into your purpose. You notice who only calls when they need something, who keeps you trapped in old versions of yourself, who drains your energy without even realizing it. When you see these things, you don't confront them with anger. You respond with boundaries. You respond with distance. You respond with self-protection. Because protecting your peace is not about pushing people away, it's about letting the right people stay. And here is the beauty of it: when you surround yourself with people who uplift your spirit, your life feels lighter, your goals feel clearer, your mind feels safer. You don't waste time defending your dreams. You don't waste energy explaining your worth. You don't fight battles that were never yours in the first place. You rise naturally because you're not carrying anyone else's chaos on your back. 2026 becomes different when you choose people who help you breathe, not people who make you feel like you're suffocating. It becomes different when you stop assuming someone will always be there and start valuing the connections that actually contribute to your peace. And the moment you do that, your life opens up in ways you never imagined. Real emotional strength begins when you stop expecting someone else to steady you every time life shakes you. We often fall into the quiet trap of believing that someone, maybe a partner, a friend, a family member, will always be there to calm us, guide us, reassure us, or pull us out of our low moments. We depend on their words to validate us, their presence to soothe us, their comfort to rebuild us. And because we assume they'll always show up, we never truly learn how to handle our emotions on our own. But emotional dependence is the enemy of emotional peace. You cannot enter 2026 with stability if your stability comes from someone else's strength. Protecting your peace means becoming emotionally stronger than your circumstances, not emotionally dependent on someone's presence. Life will continue to test you through unexpected loss, through pressure, through change, through silence, through disappointment, through people you thought would never hurt you. And if your peace collapses every time something or someone disrupts your expectations, you will spend your life reacting instead of rising. Becoming emotionally strong doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming balanced enough that you don't fall apart every time life doesn't go your way. It means learning how to sit with discomfort instead of running to someone to save you from it. It means trusting yourself enough to handle your own storms. When you stop assuming someone will always be there, you begin to step into your own emotional maturity. You learn how to observe your feelings without drowning in them. You learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before responding, to think before speaking. You learn that not every emotion deserves expression, and not every situation deserves your energy. Emotional strength is built in those moments where you choose calmness over chaos, clarity over confusion, and understanding over impulsiveness. And here's what makes this growth so powerful: once you take control of your emotions, the world loses control over you. What used to trigger you no longer shakes you. What used to drain you no longer has access to you. What used to slow you down no longer enters your mental space. You begin to understand that peace is not found in the absence of problems, it's found in the presence of self-control. This is the shift that transforms your entire life. This is the shift that makes 2026 different from every year before it. You realize that you don't need someone to constantly reassure you because you've learned how to reassure yourself. You don't need someone to hold you together because you've learned how to hold yourself up. You don't need someone to fix your emotions because you've learned how to regulate them. Emotional strength becomes your shield. Emotional intelligence becomes your compass. Emotional discipline becomes your power. And when you show up with this kind of control, your relationships become healthier too. You no longer expect someone to carry the weight of your emotions. You no longer blame others for your moods. You no longer rely on others to make you feel whole. You give from a place of fullness instead of emptiness. You connect from a place of clarity instead of insecurity. You love from a place that is stable, not chaotic. 2026 will only be different if you decide to become emotionally stronger than the situations that once defeated you. It becomes different when you stop assuming someone else will always be there to catch you and start believing in your own ability to stand tall. And once you build that strength within yourself, your peace becomes something no one can take away. You cannot build a new year with the same boundaries that kept you stuck in the old one. And one of the biggest reasons people fail to protect their peace is because they assume someone will always respect their limits, even when they've never clearly communicated them. We assume people will always treat us kindly. We assume they'll always value our time. We assume they'll always understand our silence, honor our effort, or recognize when we're overwhelmed. But assuming someone will always be there, always supportive, always available, always considerate is a mistake that leads straight to emotional exhaustion. Peace disappears when boundaries are unclear. 2026 can only be different if your boundaries become stronger, clearer, and aligned with the life you're trying to build. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. Boundaries are about letting your future in. When you decide what you will allow and what you will no longer tolerate, you create space for growth to breathe. You stop making room for behaviors that drain your spirit, and you start making room for habits and people that elevate your life. Protecting your peace means learning to say no without guilt, not now, without fear, and this is enough, without apology. Because peace cannot survive in a life where everything and everyone gets unlimited access to you. This is where many people struggle. They fear disappointing others. They fear losing someone. They fear being misunderstood. And because of that fear, they keep giving until there's nothing left for themselves. But when you assume someone will always be there, you forget that people stay where they feel respected. People stay where boundaries exist. People stay where communication is clear and energy is healthy. And if someone decides to walk away because you set a boundary that protects your peace, then they were never there for the right reasons. Boundaries are a map. They show people how to treat you. They show you how to treat yourself. They show you which direction your life is supposed to move in. In 2026, your boundaries must match your vision. If you want peace, create boundaries around your time. If you want growth, create boundaries around your distractions. If you want clarity, create boundaries around negativity. If you want success, create boundaries around your habits. You can't reach the next level if you're still letting the same old energy interrupt your focus. And here's the truth that most people never learn. Boundaries don't push people away. Lack of boundaries does. When you're constantly overwhelmed, resentful, drained, or overstretched, your relationships suffer, your goals suffer, your confidence suffers. Life feels chaotic because you're trying to be everything for everyone. But the moment you choose to protect your peace, people begin to understand the value of your time and the strength of your presence. They begin to see that your no is not rejection, it's responsibility. They begin to respect you differently because you finally respect yourself. When you stop assuming someone will always be there to adapt to your chaos, you take responsibility for creating order in your own life. You no longer wait for someone to rescue your peace, you defend it yourself. You no longer expect someone to guess your limits, you communicate them. You no longer allow your energy to be consumed by people who don't care how it affects you, you guard it with intention. 2026 becomes different the moment your boundaries become firm enough to protect your peace, strong enough to protect your energy, and clear enough to protect your future. And once you create those boundaries, you'll notice something powerful. Your life feels lighter, your mind feels calmer, and your path feels clearer than ever before.